Hello and welcome back to Flute Tip of the Week. Today's video is a little bit later than normal. I was on a bus for about 12 hours yesterday and the day before because the orchestra that I'm in for the summer, we just had a few concerts outside of Montreal in Domaine Forget and also in Saguenay. So it's been a busy few days to say the least. But I am here now, I'm back in the apartment, and I am so looking forward to making another video for you guys. Today we'll be talking about something that is going to be helping us very much in fast, short passages. Get ready to find staccatos a little bit easier. If you're finding staccatos in fast sections difficult, make sure your air is even and controlled going outwards, rather than having the sensation of sucking the air back in. This can be a bit of a confusing concept because a lot of the time we'll just be thinking about the support from our abdominals as well as just the idea of having space between the notes. One thing that I find, however, is that if someone is trying really hard to make the staccatos extremely separated, then they start to run out of breath really quickly. But it's not really because they're using so much more air than normal. It's more the fact that their air is always stopping and starting. When I used to have this problem, I would always imagine the air being sucked back inward. And this is something that can be difficult to combat because the idea of short staccatos and detached notes has been hardwired into us from when we first learned the term to having to be very, very strict and very contained. But this isn't necessarily the best thing for when we're trying to picture our air control. So really, what I mean by making sure that your air is even and controlled going outward, I mean that your air is steady, it's not really a broken stream, and also you always have to have the forward motion, not just for your air, but for the phrase. Rather than imagining the phrase being chopped vertical and constantly halting. A good example of this is the second caprice in Paganini's book of 24 Caprices. It's all very staccato, it's jumping between the octaves, and when there is a slur, it only begins right at the start of the bar and never really lasts very long. So even if you're trying to think going through the phrase for the slurs, it can also be affected by when you have the staccatos right after. So this first demonstration is going to be using the idea of bringing the air back in. For me, what that meant was that it was difficult to really understand what notes were coming up next. I was feeling really out of air even though I was trying to take proper breaths. And also, there was basically no musicality. It was really just trying to get the staccatos and the notes right, but without actually real understanding of the format or really any kind of real musicianship needed. So now I'm going to play it again, and I'm going to be thinking through the phrase. I'm going to be thinking about having my air very even and controlled and always exhaling out. The phrase was always moving forward. It was a lot easier to do the jumps between the registers, and also I had a better understanding overall of where the music was going, and I didn't have to stop as frequently for breath. And this is all just based on a different way of thinking about it. Most of what you do when you're playing is purely psychological. If you are thinking about something being difficult, your muscles will tense up. If you're thinking about something being relaxed, it feels a lot easier to be able to understand what's happening. So again, that tip was if you're finding you're having difficulty doing staccatos and fast passages, make sure your air is even and controlled and moving outwards, rather than the sensation of you sucking your air in. I hope you found this week's tip helpful. Just giving a little shout out to Wolfgang. I will indeed be getting right back to you after this video is posted about your question. And yeah, if anyone has any questions that they would like to ask me about specific problems they're having with practice, do comment on any video whether or not it is directly applied to what your issue is. And I will get back to you and I will help you out. I'll see you again next week. make sure to flute happy and always be breathing outward. Don't try to suck in those staccatos. They're pretty sour sometimes. My mom has had a lot of driving to do in the last few days, and she came to see me play a concerto a few days ago, and while she was going to be continuing to drive to Nova Scotia with our 2 dogs, we figured it was easier for her to leave our little mouse Timmy here with me. So, yeah, he's just chilling in there, although I kind of wish I had better company than him just running in his wheel while I'm trying to sleep.